Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of My Thoughts, where I give my thoughts on the latest Cars news, and I am super excited for what was just announced. Hot off the presses, just announced last night at the D23 Expo's Disney Parks panel, there are two new Cars rides coming to Walt Disney World in Florida, announced by Head of Disney Experiences Josh D'Amaro and Mater, aka Larry the Cable Guy, talking over a few static images of Mater that are supposed to look like a glitchy Zoom call. The section also included a Cars-themed musical number performed by Shabuzi. For years, Disney World hasn't had its own Cars attraction. There's Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, but that's a bit more of a show than it is a ride, so it's super cool to hear that they're finally adding some more Cars representation over to Disney World in Florida, while Disneyland California, of course, has the whole Cars Land section in Disney California Adventure. Now, I want to preface it by saying this section for Disney World is not Cars Land. It's been confirmed that it isn't going to be Radiator Springs. It's a new location that the Cars characters are visiting. They're heading out into the wilderness to go on some brand new adventures, and I think that's pretty great. They're retheming a section of Frontierland to this new Cars area. Frontierland, of course, is all Old West themed. It's the frontier. And while they are adding this Cars section and retheming a portion of Frontierland to Cars, it seems like all of the rides that were already in Frontierland will remain untouched, which is great. Now, that hasn't been confirmed, but considering they didn't mention any closures or cancellations, I assume that's the plan, hopefully. And while it may be a little awkward to have like a micro Cars Land with just two rides here that are in a brand new location for the world of Cars, I really don't mind it, and I'm glad they're going for something brand new instead of trying to cram a smaller copy of Cars Land into Florida. Now, head of the Disney Parks division, Josh D'Amaro, explained that the first of these two rides will be a rally race that'll take you through mountains with geysers and rocky terrain and mud holes. He made a big point out of the mud holes. Okay, cool. And you can see in this concept art that we have a pretty cool Cars-themed ride vehicle. Really reminds me of Gudmund from Cars Made International. You can see a few different new types of off-road vehicles that riders can sit in to go through this ride. It looks like it's going to be a really fun time. We have this big mountain in the back, which I've heard people say kind of looks like the mountain in Piston Peak from Planes, Fire, and Rescue, which is pretty funny. It's really cool to see this here with all of this fun terrain to drive around and brand new Cars characters in the form of these vehicles. The other ride has been confirmed to be for younger kids, which I think is really, really nice. Of course, as per usual, it's designed to be fun for the whole family, but it specifically takes into account younger kids who could have their own fun time racing here. And as you can see, McQueen and Mater seem to be hosting some sort of RSN event where these kids will be able to drive, again, more Cars-themed characters through some muddy terrain. You could even see Luigi and Guido sitting in the fan stands. I cannot wait to see this in person and see how they pull off these animatronics. It's probably going to be super cool. As a huge fan of Cars and the Disney parks, personally, I can't wait. I think Florida's been missing some Cars experiences for a very long time. And like I said earlier, I do think it's a little awkward to just be like, hey, here's a mini Cars section in Florida that's themed to a new area and taking up space in the pre-existing Frontierland, but I think this is honestly the best of both worlds. Like I said before, I wouldn't want Cars to fully take over Frontierland and, retheme everything that's ever existed there. I think having the Cars section take over a small part of it and also, add some new space with new rides is a pretty good compromise, and I love the fact that it's more than one. It's two rides, which is super cool. You very rarely see Disney announce two rides themed to the same property coming to just one land. And I think this is such a clever way to incorporate Cars, to not do Cars Land because, well, there already is one Cars Land, so let's have a new area for the characters to explore. As a diecast collector, I'm also super excited to see what exclusive merchandise can come here. We all know that Cars Land has its very own diecast line with vehicles based on the ride vehicles you sit in, and I would assume that they would do this here as well, which would give us our first ever Disney World exclusive cars. A lot of fun stuff coming. Very excited to see how this stuff turns out, and I'm very excited to go on it when it opens up. Construction is set to begin in early 2025. Here's hoping it turns out great. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts about these in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.